Hey up, it's Steve from the old Yorkshire Geek, and welcome to my review of episode 2 of Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, starring s01e02. I still don't know how to pronounce the name. Kurt Russell, we haven't seen yet, although he's down as he's been in 10 episodes, but we didn't see him in episode 1, unless it were a blink and you miss it thing. But we do see him in episode 2. Wyatt Russell is Kurt Russell's son, playing the younger version of his character, Lee Shaw. And many others. I don't think we see John Goodman in this episode. So let's just get on with it. This episode, by the way, is called Departure, and this switches between 2015. Remember, it's set the present day part is set a year after Godzilla and the Mutos fought in San Francisco in the 2014 film from Gareth Edwards. And in episode 1. We switched between that, 2015, and 1959. In this one, we're swapping between 2015 and 1952. So, let's get into it, shall we? Right, off we go. To mute that. Right, so, we begin with the young Lee Shaw. There we go, Manila, 1959. Oh. Is it 1952? This must be something else. No, they've got that. Sure, is it 1952? I'm confused now. Anyway, 1959. Oh, yes, I know. I am remembering. I'm misremembering, I think. Yes. This is where we're learning that how Lee ends up with Keiko and young William Randa. This is obviously the omnipresent Christopher Heyerdahl. Is amazing in everything he does. He's everywhere, he's in everything. He's playing a general. Here we learn that young Lee Shaw is always getting into fights, because he's always sticking up for people, so he always gets into fights. So he's either going to be punished, or maybe his punishment is he gets put on this babysitting duty of these scientists. Here we're learning how we got into the fight. It's in Manila, which is in the Philippines, by the way. These soldiers are, picking on a young Filipino, so he gets into a fight about that. There we go. So he's going to put him on babysitting duty. He says it's not a milk run, but, whatever. So he's got to meet Dr. Keiko. He doesn't know it's a woman. Hang on, we do the old... I forgot a bloody name already. Keiko Miura. He knows he's just got to meet Dr. Miura, so he obviously thinks he's going to look for a chap, a man. So he sees this fella, says, "Are you Dr. Miura?" And he says, "No." And then she says, "I think you're looking for me." And he says, "Oh, you his assistant." Doing the old, "I wasn't expecting a woman" thing. Whatever. So they don't get off to the best start, but he's personable. It's Wyatt Russell after all. It's a US agent. So there you go. So they're smiling. So anyway, so they're out in a jeep. She's driving like a lunatic, because she's a woman. And women drivers drive like lunatics, don't they? So he's a bit afraid, but they're heading out to somewhere. Then we get the credits. There we go. Don't need to see all that, do we? On Legacy of Monsters. Then we're back in 2015, and young Kentaro Randa has got a lot on his mind. He's learned his dad, Hiroshi Randa, had 2 lives. He had a family in America, and he had a family in Japan, leading this double life, because Kate Randa arrived, claiming his dad were dead. She was there to, clear up his affairs, and so she's been drawn into all this intrigue as well. They found his office. We saw old William Randa, played by John Goodman, throw a package into the sea from Skull Island, which were fished out 40 years later in 2013, and it somehow ended up back in the possession of William Randa's son, Hiroshi Randa. Anyway, so young Kentaro's heading to work. He obviously works in an office because it's Japan. So he's obviously some sort of software engineer, because I think that's all anybody ever does in Japan. But off he goes. Then he decides he's not going to go to work. He's going to go back to the office. And if he freaks out and he starts smashing up the place. There you go. So that's smashing it up. He's all upset. And then he can't get into that. He wants to rip everything out and tear all the papers up. And he can't get into the filing cabinets. But he's got keys that Kate gave him. And they fit. So he opens it up and he finds a Monarch folder. There we go. And there he sees young Lee Shaw. There we go. Leland Lafayette Shaw III. Is that date of birth? 8th of March, because it's America, they get the month wrong way around, don't they? 1924, there we go. So how old is he? How old is Kurt Russell supposed to be in this then, if we're born in 1924 and it's 2015? So he's 91. Is it sure that have I got that right? 24, 34, 44, 54, 64, 74, 84, 94, 04, 40. Yes, he's 91. He doesn't look it. He looks a good 91. Unbelievable. Anyway, so he's learning where he lives. He's in this old people's home. In Japan, as it happens. And there you go, he finds his film reels from 1952. That's what we're going to see. I knew 52 were in it somewhere. And then we cut back to 1959. And she's taking readings and stuff. I can't remember what they find, to be honest. Oh dear. What do they find? She sees something happens in the jungle, so she goes to check it out. Oh yes, and this is where we meet young William Rander. He's a cryptozoologist, by the way. There you go. And he's out looking for monsters, basically. So that's how they end up as a team. So obviously stay together for at least 7 years, don't they? So, it's obviously become a close-knit group. Oh, no, it's 1959, isn't it? Not 1952. See, I'm getting myself confused. So they end up together, and so that's how they're going to carry on their adventures, which we learned in the first episode ends in tragedy, because Keiko seemingly dies as she falls. Lots of monster parasite things just hatched grab onto her and pull her down to her doom, we presume. Right, so Kentaro's heading to, I think, oh no, this is Kate, isn't it? Kate is wondering about Tokyo. I don't know where she's going. I think she gets a phone call from her mother. And then she meets up. Tim meets her, remember, from Monarch. He's now on the trail of them, because Monarch detected that May was somehow looking at the data from the storage devices that they found that were in William Rander's package that he threw into the sea in 1973 or whenever it was. It's all very convoluted. So he's found Kate somehow, in Tokyo, a city of 10 million people. Just happens upon them. And he's trying to explain to her that he's not a bad person. But there we go. But she doesn't believe him. And she runs off in the end. There you go. She goes running off. And he tries to forcibly take her into custody. But there you go. Off she goes. She runs off. Leaves her bag behind. It's got all the stuff in it. But she gets bundled into a car by this woman. I forgot her name. Duval. Elisa Lasovsky as Duval. An expert operative, it says. Shush, I thought I muted it. So they've caught her of Monarch. And then they put a bag on her head. And she can see through it. They put a bag on her so they don't know where she's going. And then as you can see through it so she knows where they're going. Stupid. But she obviously gets claustrophobia. Because remember, she were in episode 1, she were in the subway during the Godzilla alert. And she got claustrophobic then. Because she were on the school bus when Godzilla attacked on the Golden Gate Bridge. And lots of kids died. She saved some. But lots of kids died when the bus went over the edge. Oh, there we go. She's remembering that, look. So it's freaking her out. So she starts fighting back in the back of the car. And then she kicks Duval and the car hits some roadworks and ends up on its roof. And Kate gets out and runs away. She goes running off. So she's escaped then. Meanwhile, Kentaro's gone to see May, who doesn't speak Japanese, yet lives in Japan, can understand it, but doesn't seem to speak it. People talk to her in Japanese and she understands, but she always replies to them in English. It's just a case of they needed a black person in the series, didn't they? They've got to have the tick boxes, haven't they? As I said in episode 1, even though it's Japan and it's essentially an ethno-state, something like 0.0002% of people in Japan are, black. But anyway. Right, so it's gone to see. I want to see if she's got anything that she can play these reels of film on. He says, I only do digital stuff. It's obviously those magnetic tapes from the 70s were obviously digital storage of some sort. Anyway, so what's happening now? Oh, so she has got. She's checking all these Monarch files. She's copying them all. I think she's sent Kentaro away. Meanwhile, Kate's reporting that somebody tried to kidnap her to the police, but they don't believe her. She says she's lost everything. Passport, phone and money, that were in a bag that's gone. But they don't believe her because, she's just a woman. So he says, I'll phone the embassy and I'll tell you where it is. And while he's doing that, she runs off again. There you go. Off she goes. Kentaro gets back home, puts his... In Japan, you've got to take your shoes off and put your slippers on, haven't you? When you go into the house. So he's wondering at all, he's still worrying about what his dad were up to. But then his mum gets angry then, finally. She's been all calm and been nice and stuff, but suddenly she gets angry. But not in an angry way, she just says it, now I'm angry too. And she starts ripping up the photos from the photo album. And then they both do, and they're having a laugh. He were a bastard. Throwing all the things away. And then he comes across, I think, a photo of young Lee Shaw. There we go. So that makes him wonder again. And then we cut back to 1959 again. I could have sworn we went back to 52. Sure we did. Anyway. Although that'll be when we look at the film, won't it? That'll be that bit, won't it? Of course. Back in 1959, he's explaining what he's doing. He's looking for basically monsters. Radiation's the clue, blah blah blah. So they're going to go off and find that. Blah blah blah. There we go. All right. He's going off for something. I can't remember what, but he goes off and leaves them. So they go exploring, and they come across. There we go. They're going to the jungle. I can't remember where they are. I think the Philippines. I think they are, aren't they? Go off into the jungle. There we go. He's got his notebook. He's got his Grail diary, and so they're following this convoluted path. And they find a ship anyway in the middle of the jungle. Here we go. In a minute, when they get there, and it reminds me of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It's the Cotopaxi. Hang on, they're going to show us it. Dun dun dun. They're going to show us it. Come on, when you're ready. Oh, for God's sake, I'm going to wait till the next scene, innit? They found a big ship. Meanwhile, Kate's worrying, she's got nothing, she doesn't know where to go. I think she's looking for a bag. She ends up going back to May's place. So remember, May likes her for some reason. But as she gets there, she notices the door's open. She's just about to knock, and then May finds her and pulls her back, and it's the Monarch people that have got into May's house and they're searching her stuff. So she escapes with May. Here we go. So this is where we learn about Hiroshi Randa. He was 18 when his father died in Vietnam. That's what they're telling him. Remember, Hiroshi's dad was William Randa, who died on Skull Island, didn't he? But anyway. And so they've got to find out who this Lee Shaw fella is. Then Tim arrives. Tim knocks on the door. So obviously they're finished at May's. Now they've gone to Kentaro's house. They're after anything that they may have from what May was looking at. They want it. They say it's Monarch. It's Monarch property. So she says to him, in putting a nice voice on, if you've got it, Kentaro, you should give it to them. And Kentaro says, it's in my room, I'll go and get it. But obviously, he just runs off. He escapes. And she says to him, run, Kentaro, run, or whatever. She gives him the photo of Lee Shaw. So he knows that he's got to find Lee Shaw for more answers. She's been all nice. But she's just distracting him. And then he notices the photo of Hiroshi Randa, realises who it is. And then go, Kentaro, run, but in Japanese. So he's on the run now. Right. So they're looking for Lee Shaw. Oh, he finds the bag. Does Tim. But I think it's empty. All the stuff that I think May might still have it. I don't know. Anyway, there we go. They found a ship in the middle of the Philippines jungle. It just reminded me of Close Encounters. Where they found the ship in the desert. And they found a ship in the middle of the jungle. Is it the Lawton or whatever? I don't know. Is that a real ship that vanished? I don't know. As you can see, it's got a big gash in the side. So something's picked it up and dropped it in the middle of the jungle. So they go inside. And remember, this is before the events we saw in episode 1, by the way. So they go inside and it's all, wrecked is the ship. There's nobody aboard. I don't think they find any bodies. I don't think they do. I could be wrong. But they do find that there's something alive in there. There you go, they find bits and bobs. The crew, crew's stuff that they've left behind. And I think it turns out, I'm sure it turns out that, is it this one? Oh no, this is the ship that William Randa served on during the war, I think during the war. Or whenever, or sometime, I can't remember when. 1943, I think he said. I think it's 43. Yeah, he served on this ship, and something sunk it. And this is what's led to his search. He was the only survivor, so I think that might be his found his stuff. So that's what's led to his quest to see what happened to the ship he was on. Meanwhile, he's heading back. And then we see this big aurora-style effect in the sky. That's to do with radiation, I don't know. So anyway, meanwhile, in 2015, May, she's got a locker. She gets her stuff. She's got loads of passports and stuff like that in it, and money and all that. Fake passports. So she's heading out. And they come across Kentaro, in a city of 10 million people, just run into each other. And so they've got to work out what to do together. They've got to find Lee Shaw. He's still clutching the little photo. He's in an old people's home somewhere in Japan. Meanwhile, in 1959, they're looking through the ship, and then they find all this gooey goo stuff all over the ship. Some kind of secreted resin. But secreted from what? Find all that. So, I think maybe what's left of the crew, to be honest. I think it's covered in the crew up. I guess because I think they do see a body, sort of like hanging out. A bit like aliens. There we go. And so they decide to head back out, and then they see there's all this goo on the steps, and so that wasn't there before. So obviously something's leaving goo behind. So they go a different way. Meanwhile, I tell you, jarring this back and forth in 2015. They arrived at this old people's home in Japan. Obviously, never wanted to go back to America. Did Lee Shaw? He stayed in Japan. Remember, he's supposed to be 91 years old, or at least 90. So they go to see Kurt Russell. Hey, you're here to see the Colonel. So this is where we meet Kurt Russell in a bit. There he is, tending to his bonsai trees. There we go. There he is, looking well for 90, isn't he? I don't think Kurt Russell's 90, is he? I don't think so. Anyway. So they're asking him about all this stuff. What's he saying to him? Let's see if it does in the subtitles. Hang on, 'cause I've not got the right subtitles on. So what they asking him? There we go. Wanted to ask about their father, but tells them to go outside. There you go. And obviously, they don't want them to speak loudly because maybe he's being monitored. So they go out into the garden. They're all kind of paranoid. They want to find out what happened to Hiroshi Randa. And they tell about secret life in Japan. No death certificate. Something's watching her. What's she looking at there? Obviously, somebody's watching her from somewhere over there, I presume. Oh, there we go. Oh, I think she's found a little camera hidden in one of the trees or whatever. And he's got one of them on, that's so they can track him. But, so they want to get out of there right now. They've got to, escape somehow. Meanwhile, back in 1959, on the ship, they come across a big monster, I think, in a minute. They've got to run out. There we go. We see there's big claw marks on the wall of the ship, and it all shifts. And William Randa gets, remember this is young William Randa, gets trapped under something. But Keiko saves him. She lifts up this super heavy thing and he gets out. But Lee Shaw arrives just in time, and they either get him out, and the big monster's coming. She didn't lift it up, I was kidding. They run out, they find a hole in the ship, thankfully. They run out, the ship, just get out the ship, and the ship starts tipping towards them. I'd be pooing myself now if that were looming down on me. But they just escape by the skin of their teeth. But it's not over yet, there you go. A huge monster appears, rips open the ship, and then flies away, or flies at them, but they get into the tree line. And he says, oh my god, it is a dragon. So I think somebody had mentioned something about dragons. I can't remember what earlier on. But there we go, that goes flying off. And I think it lands back on the ship again, because that's its territory. And then it ends with, hang on, let's see if we can, all dramatic music. But as it ends, we hear another roar, and we all know what this roar is. Are you ready? That's how episode 2 ends. That's it. So more monsters. We see different monsters each episode, which is cool. I am enjoying it. For the most part. It's enjoyable guff, innit? It's about monsters, when all said and done. But the bit with this Hiroshi Randa and his double life, it's doing my head in. I'm not really interested in it, to be honest. Just have a team searching for monsters. Why do we have to have this family drama that's going on? I don't know. It seems pointless to me. It seems overly convoluted, to be honest. But anyway, we'll see what happens later on. This episode was just as good as episode 1. It wasn't better, it wasn't worse. It was just more of the same. So this is another 7 out of 10. I'm enjoying it. I'm looking forward to episode 3 next week. Or this week, should I say. So yeah, so give it a whirl. Give it a whirl on Apple TV+. Yeah. Monarch Legacy of Monsters is worth a watch. And it's nice to see a 90-year-old Kurt Russell. Is he 90? Let's check. He can't be 90, can he? Let's have a look. How old is he? He's 72, not 90. Oh dear. Do you think that's a mistake? Because they put his date of birth as 1924, didn't they? Which, a bit crazy. Anyway, never mind. Right, we'll leave it there. So, as I said, it's worth watching. It's not the best thing ever, but it's got some good monsters in. And me. And it's got Kurt Russell in, so you can't go wrong. So, we'll leave it there. So, thanks for watching. Wherever you are, look after each other. And until next time, I'll see thee.